Hello, dearest brothers and sisters. So it's been a little while since I've watched a music video. Um, so I'll be watching Secular Haze, and I was gonna do Year Zero, but I was like, well, this is kind of before that, so let me watch this one first. Before I've just kind of been all over the place. So I think we'll watch Secular Haze first, and then next time we'll probably watch Year Zero. It says censored version, so I mean it's on Ghost official channels. So is there an uncensored version? What's different between the uncensored and censored? But yeah. So we're gonna watch this and make sure it's turned up, and here we go. Okay, so before the song actually starts, I love the beginning. I love the music. It's very like it kind of reminds me of it. It almost has like a I think I saw in the comments, and it really does. The Boo House, the Boo Mansion in Mario 64. You have that little merry-go-round type part where you have the boos coming out, and it has that really like circusy, kind of music. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Also, it kind of like it sounds like a song of storms, from Zelda kind of thing with the notes. Um, but I love this whole like cheesy kind of like entrance that he's got. He's kind of like walking backwards slowly, and uh pitchy beat or notes going on there, and yeah, it's very much like when I think of like the Boo's Haunted Mansion and all that. Very like spooky-ish vibes, but and also very much like the guitar. When you hear the guitar, it's very much like Black Sabbath, um stuff like that. So Okay, so stop right there as well. I don't want to, do the whole thing. I mean, it's going to be copyrighted anyway, so whatever. But the image, it's very much like something you would see maybe in like the 60s and 70s, back when some of the music videos were a lot more standard. There wasn't a whole lot of moving around. They would just kind of stand there, play their instruments, the singer would sing, and it reminds me very much of that. The filter that they got going on does look very much like a vintage type, 60s, 70s style type thing going on there. Um, you can tell maybe that's what they were going for. Um, but like I said, normally they would just kind of stand there because back in the day, you know, like say like before Elvis, because they said he was kind of the first to do it. Back then when they had music, they would just kind of just stand in one place. There was really no real dancing or moving, but then people started becoming more lively while playing music. But there was this like portion of 60s and 70s where you had the artists just kind of like keep to tradition and just kind of stand there in place. Um, if I remember, like the Mamas and the Papas, kind of the same thing, like that kind of thing. Um, a lot of people would just their videos, music videos nowadays, kind of like tell stories and this and that. But back then, some of the music videos were just person just standing there singing. Um, and that's definitely what I'm getting, like old 60s and 70s. So okay, wow. The guitars, the riffs are the riffs, the solos, everything just it's always fucking juicy. Just mm, so good. Um yeah, the more you listen, it does sound more like something, metal or any kind of rock from back to 60s and 70s. Definitely has that kind of vibe to it, very like a psychedelic sort of vibe to it. Um Now, Tobias is extremely talented, and what I would have loved to see is each Papa is supposed to be a different person. Is him able to have a different voice for each one of them and be able to sing kind of like in that voice? Because it's like we see all these different Papas, but they all somehow have the same voice, which. So I really would have loved to see each Papa with their own distinct voice and would really show off the kind of range that Tobias has, because this guy's apparently got like really crazy amount of crazy range. And you're imagining, especially when he's doing it live, If you got you remember that he has like a mask on basically where you can really only the bottom portion of his mouth. So he's got this mask on. It's really constricting his face, so he can't do like as much as he wants to. He can't really go up as high as he could because he's got this mask on that's basically restricting all that. But and yet live, even with all of that on, he sounds amazing. I can't only imagine what the guy sounds like without being constricted by a freaking mask. I bet this guy is incredible when it comes to that. So I would love to see each Papa have their own distinct voice and singing style. Um, because it pretty much it's obviously it's Tobias, but if we're to believe that each one of these Papas are a unique individual, it'd be really cool because they all have their own personalities and they all have their own different you know clothes, but they all somehow have the same voice. um so I really would have loved to see, or to hear rather, a different, maybe something deeper, or I'm sure Tobias has more than enough skill to do it. um it'd be like people with movies or something, or like animated cartoons where they sing and they have to sing in character. I'm pretty sure Tobias is extremely capable of doing that. But that's just something I would love to see, is each one of the Papas having a different unique singing voice, instead of kind of sounding like you know they all have different talking speaking voices, but then they all sing the same. So I think that's weird. um but yeah, the more it goes on, and the like it freezes and then it kind of like fade, transitions, like I said, really like 70s, going for that whole psychedelic feel. um and we've said before, they do such a wide array of rock and hard rock and metal, heavy metal, psychedelic stuff, 60s, 70s, 80s, modern. I mean, they have such a wide array of musical knowledge, essentially, where they can not only do these forms of music, but do it well. And people said, and I've said before, this is like when you see like Eurovision and all these bands that come out. Ghost is exactly what those bands try to be. They are successful. These guys have, or Tobias, and the ghouls and ghoulettes. They've all got their own, skills and this and that, and they all work together perfectly. Um, and Tobias has such a knowledge about music, uh, and different forms of music, and his between that and his vocal talent, and I mean it's just crazy. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely getting like some psychedelic 70s, um, very like almost traditional 70s, 60s, 70s. Like I said, some of them, a lot of people would just kind of stand there, singing. There's not a whole lot of moving around. They might have like one person singing, but then the music, the video itself might be them singing with some like go-go dancers or something like that. Something like that. Um, but I love how it can kind of take you back. The filter itself is, like I said, very, it's like you're sitting in front of the TV in the 60s or 70s and you're watching them. You know, it's so good the way they take the filters and kind of really make you feel like you're there in that that era. Um, the music itself, obviously great. Like I said, the whenever that guitar, because it's like everything we've heard so far, there's always like that guitar solo, and it's always juicy as hell. It is. I mean, screw apples, screw whatever else. You're looking for something juicy. This is the juiciness right here. Um, but yeah, it's just, I mean, every song I've heard has been great, but I think it's because the first song, they're the first songs I started with, so I guess they might just have more staying power. But all these other songs that I've listened to just don't get stuck in my head the way that Mariana Cross did, and Square Hammer and Dance Macabre. all those get stuck in my head. I'll sing them at work, and I'll sing them fairly loud because, you know, I work at the Baylor and I'm down there by myself. So really, who's gonna hear me? You know, between the sounds of machines and the Baylor, and no one's gonna really hear me sing. Um, but they've just had staying power. Whereas these other songs, you know, this one, um, from the Pinnacle to the Pit, um, Cerise, Rats, all those other ones that we've listened to, they're good, but they don't have that got caught in my head and I can find myself singing them at any time, you know? Um, and again, it probably just chalks it up to the other three kind of being the first ones that I've listened to. So for me, it's kind of what got me into this whole rabbit hole of Ghost, and so obviously I think maybe I just hold them closer to me now. So like 50 years from now, seriously doubt I'll be alive 50 years from now, but say I am 50, you know, 50 years from now, I'm still around, you know, with my Alzheimer's, dementia, trying to remember back and trying to remember some Ghost songs. Guarantee you that Mariana Cross, Dance Macabre, or Square Hammer are the ones that I automatically think of. So, how did it go? Mariana cries. You know, of course, see, 50 years from now, yeah, I'll be about what, 85? Actually, I wouldn't sound like that. I'd probably sound worse. But, anyways, you get the idea. Still, a really good song. I love the whole 70s psychedelic kind of feel to it. The whole, the guitar sounding very much like Black Sabbath. It's just really good. And again, I would love to see Tobias, if he does introduce any new papas to the mix, which I'm sure he will at some point, to give them their own individual, distinct singing voice. Because we all know it's Tobias, but I would really think I think it would be really, really awesome if he can kind of show off more of his vocal skills by singing in a higher pitch or a lower pitch, or something like that. But that's just me. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.